Welcome back. Welcome back. It is time for a 5-minute break with me, Angelo Ponzi, at the Business Growth Cafe. And we're ready for our 5-minute break. And today we're going to talk about tactics, right? I am a marketing guy, and we are going to talk about marketing tactics. Now, I get asked all the time, what are the right tactics? How do I measure? How do I know? How do I budget for these? And what is my return on investment? Now, those are all interesting and questions. And partially it is going to, my answer is usually it depends if we've done the right research up front, that we know who we're trying to reach, and we understand how they consume information. And if I know that, then I can figure out what are the right tactics. Just because your competitors are doing it, but it's a good thing to look at what they're doing, doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do. And if we were doing some market research, we just talked about that, you would understand how your customers and your prospects consume information, where they get that information, and you could figure out what are the right channels of communication to reach to them. Are you a brick and mortar shop? Do you have a sales team that are out selling and taking orders and funneling them into production? Are you an e-commerce where you've already got inventory that you're turning and selling? And how are you tracking all of that and all the different tactics that kind of go into move those needles? And at the same time, on the back end, to measure those to determine were your tactics the right tactics? And how do you make modifications and make adjustments? And if you're in the traditional world and you're running a print ad, for example, and it's taken 60 days before the ad gets published, and by the time it's out there, months have gone by. And by then, you don't know whether it's really working or not working the way you wanted it to work, or maybe the messaging or something has changed during that time period. So think about the channels that you use, the tactics that you use, and the best way to use them. Are you doing it to build awareness of your brand and helps drive your positioning? Are you trying to sell a product? Are you trying to get your customers to understand about all the products and services that you sell? It's a question I ask actually in a lot of my presentations. I ask my audiences. A lot of times they're CEOs of companies. Do you think your customers would recommend you? Yes, absolutely. Net Promoter Score, we get high rankings. Do you think they know all the products and services that you sell? Absolutely not, because they don't. Why? Because you're selling into that channel, you're selling a product or service. And a lot of times you're not cross-selling, you're not upselling, and you're not taking the time to broaden out your awareness of all the things that you could do. Maybe there's a service or a product that you have that they might be able to use. I had a customer several years ago that created all these really cool foundational software products that they were building all new products off of. But their existing customers had no idea that they even existed. And so in that particular case, we recommended a road show. They packaged it all up and they went around and visited all their best customers to make sure they understood the new foundational building blocks that they had. And it generated a lot of new business for them just by simply doing that. So you have to make sure that you're constantly communicating not only to your prospects, but also to your customers and also internally. If you do not have an internal tactical program, if you will, to make sure the people within your organization understand what's going on, their role, and how they participate in helping to grow your brand, you have a missed opportunity. I've seen it so many times where you're talking to people within the organization and they know their function or they know what they're doing, but they don't necessarily understand how their contribution fits into the bigger piece, right? If we think of your business as a puzzle and everybody in that building is a piece of that puzzle and putting it all together, right? If sales goes out and marketing goes out and does a great campaign and that creates an opportunity for sales, and they go out and they make $1 million sale, and then they come walking in and cheering and happy, and manufacturing says, I don't have the inventory for that. I can't get it for 6 months. And frankly, I don't have the bodies to make that happen. Well, now all of a sudden, we've got a lot of other issues that we should have been able to be prepared for. So make sure that not only are you communicating externally with what your tactics are, but also internally as well, to make sure whether they're in-person meetings or you've got internal newsletters or Slack channels, whatever you're happening to use, to make sure that there is a real strong foundation in building the tactics, your return on investment, and making sure that you have the budgets to execute. Don't overplan if you don't have the budget, but figure out the right channels. What are the most important ones? What are the second ones to help you get to the areas that you need to to keep your business moving forward down the road to growth. That's the first time you've heard that, and it won't be the last. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you here again today, and I look forward to seeing you soon.